Ah yes, Clue Clue Land, the NES game that never ever gets talked about or brought up to anybody's mind when it comes to black box art games such as Super Mario Bros., Metroid, Excite Bike, Tennis, and so on and so forth. Which is why I'm reviewing this piece of nostalgic history of one of Nintendo's forgotten IPs. Think about when Ice Climber came out in 1985 and had only one game in the series, which yet was very successful platformer which led the Ice Climbers as a playable fighter in the Super Smash Bros. Series. If you played any of the Super Smash Bros. Melee and Beyond before, you may know a thing or two about Clue Clue Land's character or items that represents in the game. But what is Clue Clue Land exactly? And how did this game fail to succeed like Ice Climbers? Well, the first thing to know is that this game was an arcade and NES game released around 1984, or should I say 1985. It starts a red spear-like protagonist named Bubbles, who will grab on poles, swing around them, and let them go to change directions. The gameplay is to guide your character around these mazes to collect all the treasures that seems to be rubies, similar to The Legend of Zelda. This plays an important role to progress the game. Items will also be available, like clocks that stops enemies, or fruits that will allow you to get more points. Which these timers will also stop these enemies, which we called Urenas. I really don't know how you say them, but these Urenas has to be avoidable, which they hid and defend the rubies. You should shoot them by shockwaves by simply pressing a button. After that, it can be crushed against a wall, and it'll never bother you again. Or you can trap them into the rubies that you made. This game also features some build of strategy and some kind of puzzler where you're creating different kinds of different shapes with these rubies. Like, let's say you make like a heart or a man or whatever shape that you do, it is very interesting how it really turns out. Clue Clue Land, however, does have one of its flaws, such as its infuriating movement controls and fast-paced timing, which can be very critical. On top of portals, like you see in the game, and enemies can cause plenty of game overs and raging. As long as you practice these long enough to complete all 20 variety of puzzles, then I consider yourself the brainiac of D-pad mashing. Clue Clue Land can also be played in 2-player, which also adds another player can join in too, making this game more of a breeze to play. If so, the other players know what they're doing. This game also has a remake for the Nintendo Versus system as Versus Clue Clue Land, and later released on the Famicom. In the Animal Crossing game for the GameCube, there is an NES item which includes Clue Clue Land to be scanned on an e-reader retrospectively. Besides that, in the GBA game DK Kings of Swing is included as a playable character similar in design. This game, Clue Clue Land, certainly did not age very well enough. When it comes to difficult controls and fewer replayability, that can really just drag on to the game. It can also get really boring in the last 5 minutes. However, this game is a purified classic with very charming visuals that will put you into a nostalgic mood. I would rather recommend Clue Clue Land if you have a Nintendo. I don't know if there is a Nintendo Switch online for it, but however, Clue Clue Land is one of the games you should give it a shot. I give this responsive score of a 7 out of 10.